I don't know if you guys can hear me. So I'm just going to give it a moment um, to let more people hop onto the stream and get a sense of whether you can actually hear me. And you can do that by just sending hashtag stand with BDL. I'm going to wait for a bit just to see some people in the chat stream. Um, in the meantime, yo, Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Welcome to another vlog 64 of the BDL show. You're gonna have to excuse me. I'm in a foreign car. There you go. Thanks, Darren. Darren Brand. I see you. Reno Borta. Shout out to you, homie. Um, as I said, you're gonna have to excuse me. I'm in a foreign car. I'm not used to it uh, because I flew down to Cape Town. I didn't drive, and you guys will know that I came down here. Initially, well, the reason was to attend the court case. This is the court case, of course, where involving the robbery. So, if you remember, in about September on Heritage Day, I was robbed of my phone as I'm not driving, guys, relax, I'm stationary. I was robbed of my phone um, by some random douchebag as I was rendering assistance at a crash site in what's that place called in Westlake here in Cape Town. I am in Cape Town, but the court case, which was supposed to happen yesterday, that's Thursday, was postponed because the magistrates court in Weinberg, excuse me, sorry, had one suspected case, and I say one suspected case of COVID-19, and it shut down the entire court. And I posted a video of that entire shenanigan and clown world situation on the Facebook page. That's the Big Daddy Liberty Facebook page. Please check it out because I made quite a few points there around how it has been not COVID-19, the virus, but rather the bad policy response by the state and politicians. Politicians, of course, who are anti liberty and anti family, and who have now used this virus as a great opportunity to push toxic policy approaches in the name of addressing this virus. Policy approaches which, of course, err on the side of removing your freedoms, your liberties, and corrupting the institutions of society that really matter. The institutions and the values that I often talk about of faith, flag, family, and freedom. Politicians are deeply opposed to those values. It's one of the main reasons why they dislike me quite vehemently across the political spectrum. Whether it's the ANC who hold the echelons of political power as a government, or the EFF who are a would-be kingmaker, both of whom are red in tooth and claw communists, the ANC being more socialist and statist, and even pockets of the DA, who, especially when I'm critical of their statist tendencies, their police state tendencies at times, this this um this 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 insistence and crazy fervor by the DA here in the Western Cape, to overtax and punish at times. And I say tax, not in the sense that they are a tax authority. Of course, we know the South African Revenue Service is, but they are a taxer of people via the city of Cape Town. If you don't believe me, ask any resident of the city of Cape Town who by luck and by initiative is in the middle class. Ask them about the tax regime of the Democratic Alliance as a municipality here in Cape Town. They'll tell you just exactly how brutal it is and how excessive it is. And I say it's excessive because people often accuse the DA of being, like me, a free marketeer or a libertarian, that somehow they espouse the ideas of limited government. They really don't. They really don't. It's one of the great frustrations I had with the DA when, in my past life, I used to be in that political party. In fact, quite senior in terms of its backroom staff, if you will. I mean, I used to be a spokesperson for the provincial government of the Western Cape, specifically the Department of Social Development. And, back in those days when I still thought that I could shape the DA into becoming, a party of faith, flag, family, and freedom in particular, I still had those illusions I now see that I could shape the DA and have it become that 4F type party so that it can galvanize South Africans across race, across gender, across all of these arbitrary identity politics, um, that define our politics in this country, and actually galvanize people behind a set of values, and then the ideas of liberty. I used to think I could influence the party to move in that direction, and I was wrong, right? I was wrong. Um, but I digress. I'm sorry. This video is not about that or them, but rather, just to go back to the point where this began. It um, I draw. Sorry, I'm just noticing um, the overexposure. There we go. That should help a bit. Um, Yeah, so I draw sharp criticism and even hate and even death threats in some cases now from all the major parties, specifically the EFF when it comes to death threats. um, yeah, hey man, them commies, they don't like this fat boy. But they can try. They can try come after me. Watch what happens when you run up on my black bucky. Anyway, I digress. Um, this vlog is a short one because I want to chat about how COVID-19 really has become used by the elites in this country, both the political elites and just the general elites. It's been used by those who are dead set on selling you their favorite politician. It's been used by those individuals too to basically go after people's freedoms and liberty and to definitely crush the spirit of the ordinary citizen, the faith flag family type citizen, and specifically to crush your ability to pursue your happiness. That's essentially what we're now beginning to see as becoming the new norm, we're told, of a COVID-19 world, a flu world. And I call it flu because that's exactly what COVID-19 is. I had it myself, and it was no different, to any other flu that I've had before. Now, I understand that obviously it impacts people differently, which makes sense because, our immune systems and, our health is of course different. So that, don't get me wrong, I accept that there are some people who become incredibly ill from COVID-19. um, but I really find it funny, and I just shared a meme earlier on, of one of those NPC memes. If you want to check it out, just go to my go to my Twitter account, and I think I posted it on Facebook, where this NPC character says, "Well, thanks to mask wearing and social distancing, there's almost no flu season this year." And then another character says, what does the character say? Oh, but what about COVID-19 then? Um, and then the character says, hey, wait a minute. They sort of get angry that, the principle they set up regarding how flu has been eradicated by mask wearing and social distancing somehow doesn't happen. The principle that is, doesn't work with COVID-19, whose cases seem to be on the rise. Um, making basically mocking this idea that being told to wear a mask and to social distance will stop the spread. They told us, of COVID-19. But now these cases are supposedly rising. That in and of itself, which is questionable, but yeah, that's an issue for another day. But we're told that these cases are rising, and the health minister William Kize tells us, oh, South Africa is now in a second wave. We're told, you know, hashtag case demic. Um, and no one questions this anymore. No one questions this anymore, especially when this data, sketchy as it now, it's coming out. It is, excuse me, especially, of course, with a lot of the work that I'm now beginning to see being done by the Panda Group and really other experts around the world, questioning the reliability of the PCR test when it comes to looking out for COVID-19. Um, the point being, the rise in these numbers is now justifying or seeing politicians justify going after citizens, going after a citizen's freedoms, going after a citizen's family, going after an individual's ability to make decisions about their own lives. That's where we now find ourselves as South Africans. And it's a distinctly dangerous place to be in, because the very same politicians who, for the past 26 years, because of their ideology, have been itching to eradicate our freedoms, itching to tax us more, itching to control us more, are now finding and using COVID-19 as the convenient excuse to do exactly those three things. So that no one even bats an eyelid anymore, especially in the political elites, you know, in the sort of blavity black circles and really the SJW white circles too. These individuals who praise and worship politicians, their favorite politicians. There's no questioning anymore when a politician says, you know what, I'm actually going to come after you quite aggressively. I'm going to use the apparatus and the levers of the state, which are always backed up by violence, which are always backed up by guns, state guns. They're going to use those apparatus now to suppress your ability to pursue happiness. When a president, as according to the reports, says something along the lines of, I think, or at least at the time of recording this video, there is talk amongst the media that the president is going to address the country and basically close beaches, either in KZN, where I'm hearing it's being centered because of the fear of, people flocking to the beaches as they should. My goodness, somewhere in Durban. Hey man, I'm a Durbanite. You gotta remember that. The beach is where you need to be. But here are politicians now saying, you know what? Because we know that fun festive season is coming, we're looking perhaps, as is being mooted, to ban people being on the beach, to ban an activity which mostly poor people, not that not that it's the preserve of poor people, but mostly poor people go to the beach because it's a social space, it's a public space that's free of charge. And if you're not the sort of middle class guy who's able to go to the Wave House in Umhlanga, or uh, these fancy water parks, the beach is where we used to go. The beach is where we used to go. But no, not according to Karen and Joe Public, who shills for the state, and of course the Blavity Black, the SJW White, and the political elites. No, not according to them. How dare you even think about having fun over this festive season? Don't you know COVID-19 is a pandemic? It's killing everybody. There's bodies just strewn all over the streets in this country because of COVID-19. Let's ignore the fact that, COVID-19 in South Africa at least has a 91, if you believe the stats, the veracity of them. Even those stats are basically pointing out that COVID-19 in South Africa has a 91.5% recovery rate. In excess of 795,000 people, I think, out of about 800 and something thousand, have recovered from this disease. Had it, recovered, and now have the antibodies, or at the very least, as far as I understand, um, human biology, at very least, your body now has the ability to, when it recognizes COVID-19 again, to produce the antibodies that fights it, isolates it, and fights it. But no, apparently these days, humans don't have immune systems anymore. Oh no, we need to wait for these vaccines and some politician finding an answer for you to be able to then resume normal life. That's the rhetoric we're being sold. That's the rhetoric we're being sold. And we're being sold it not because of COVID-19. It's not really what's happening here. You're being dribbled in that regard. We're being sold that rhetoric because they're trying to establish the precedent that a politician can stop all things in society and control everything, including you as an individual and your family and community. That's the precedent we're being set here. That's the precedent we're being set. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those people who then from that position extrapolates all sorts of conspiracy theories, because I do see those. And I do see, for example, on Germ's channel, he has guests who really do sprout some really fantastic conspiracy theories. And I don't think you need to go that far. I don't think you need to go that far, down the rabbit hole of conspiracy to see what's already in front of you, which is an agenda to effectively control the individual, crush the individual, and introduce the state as the controller of all things in society. Crush the individual, crush the family, crush the community, and position politicians and the state as being the be all, end all of things in society. That, at the very least, is not conspiracy. That you see patently happening around you. And if you think I'm talking nonsense or I have no data or evidence for this, guys, just think back a few months ago in this country to that asinine nonsense of level 5, 4, and 3 lockdown, where politicians were having a field day exercising violence of the state against ordinary citizens, locking up 300,000 people on petty COVID rules, killing some citizens, killing fellow South Africans over a virus with a 99% recovery rate worldwide, 91 in this country, if you believe the veracity of the numbers, which I think are just, our numbers are dubious, especially when I look at what the experts and the brightest minds in this country who are within that panda group, especially when you look at their work and what they're saying, you quickly realize that we're being dribbled by the state. We're being dribbled by the state. I mean, you have, for instance, this week, a whole Department of Health, which basically lied in a tweet. I don't know if they put out a press release too, but they lied in a tweet at the very least to say, oh, we as the Department of Health, they said, can confirm that, there's all of these cases of COVID-19 due to these rage parties that these matrics were having. And then you scratch the lie and you find out that actually, no, there's only been one rage party, as far as I understand. The others have either been postponed or cancelled. And yet here is a Department of Health saying, no, we can confirm that there is a spike in COVID-19 cases from the following rage parties. Guys, you're being dribbled. You're being dribbled. You're being dribbled. You have politicians who are taking a serious thing. Yes, COVID-19 is a serious thing. I'm not one of those people who says it isn't. Of course, it's a serious thing. It's a virus. And like any other virus, it'll attack the immune system. Some people will die. Some people will get sick. I got sick, right? But if you do the right things, you recover from this thing. Almost, I can say, easily recover from this thing because it is a flu. But that's not the way I was going. Sorry. I nearly lost my train of thought. But essentially, the point I'm saying is you now have a state and politicians who are openly okay with lying to you because there seems to be a oh, damn it, buffering symbol. Damn. Buffering symbol. I don't know if I'm still with you, but I always take a pause when I see that little buffering symbol, which is what I see right now. So someone needs to say something in the comments just to let me know if I'm still on. Otherwise, I have to pause. Okay, there we go. Thanks, Darren. Okay, so just to finish the point, because I really am nearly done. You now have a situation where we're normalizing the political control over citizens. I mean, politicians are now literally saying, you know what? December's coming, and we know these things because that's how they view us. They view us as things. They view us as but a means to something. The something being power for them. These things are going to flock to the beaches. The poor ones are going to go to KZN. The richer ones are going to go to the Western Cape. Let's drum up the talk now, they'll say, of banning fun activities, banning happiness in these places so that we remind these things that we are in charge, we're in control. And that when we decide you can have happiness, we'll then pick the winners and losers of happiness, obviously based on race and all sorts of other things, because this is South Africa after all. So that's the danger we're in here, people. That's the danger we're in here. And that's where I often say to people, Volga, wake up, start speaking out, start speaking with force as the citizen, as the voter. Because there's one thing politicians need to understand, especially with the upcoming local government elections, especially with the upcoming national elections. The one thing they need to understand is you will be punished severely. That we now have a muscle memory as voters, and you will be punished severely as a politician. You will be the one who loses employment. And it's been us losing jobs, no? At the whim of politicians. We've been losing the jobs. 3 million South Africans jobless, not because of a virus, but because of the decision making, the poor policy decision making of politicians. Now we must return that favor to politicians. You must see them on TV crying. Oh, how dare you guys not vote for us? Nkosazana Zuma, what do you have to say about this? Oh no, I've lost my job. Now how can I afford my Buffalo Bill ways? Oh man. But we need to be the ones who punish these guys. And I can tell you now, here's my commitment to you as I wrap up, because I'm nearly at the 22-minute mark. Here's my commitment to you. If enough ANC supporters opt not to vote, and no, put it this way, let me be clear. I'm conscious of the fact that the ANC may not lose this election. But one thing I can commit to is that if the ANC loses support and it goes either just below the 50% mark or it falls to the 50% mark, I will literally I'll save up as I speak. I will buy a roast chicken. A roast chicken. Remember they banned them roast chickens when they were on their power trip at level 5. I will buy a roast chicken for each number of ANC politician who lost a seat or who lost an election, and I will mail it to their house. I will courier a roast chicken with a card saying happy unemployment, asshole, or something like that, or commie, or whatever the case may be. I will mail a roast chicken to every single ANC politician who loses a seat. That is my promise to you on this, what is this, vlog 64. 64. So y'all need to remind me when it's election time and the results are coming in. In fact, I might even make it fun. Because during the elections, if the results, when they're tabulating the results, they go to like the elections results center and all the politicians are usually there. I might actually rock up there. To do my little mini protest and deliver a roast chicken with a little message to every single one of these filthy politicians and say, this is what you get for messing with my South Africans. I'm angry, but I actually really find that funny. That's some funny shit. Come on now. Oh, man. All right. No, let me go. I need to. Ah, man. Guys, thank you for watching. I ended up on a bit of a funny note unexpectedly. But to maybe summate, I am deeply concerned at the loss of liberty. I'm deeply concerned at politicians normalizing punishing my South Africans. Because don't get me wrong, South Africans are hurting, guys. South Africans are really hurting. I drive around yesterday when the court case was cancelled. I then opted to do some charitable work. There's some NGOs who I have a relationship down here from my days when I was still working in social development, I decided to do some charitable work. And you know, guys who had inboxed asking for help. And really, I can't help everybody. And I always say this, guys, I can't help everybody, but I at least link them up with some NGOs, and we delivered some food parcels and, some stuff that we did yesterday. But I remembered looking around me and thinking, yay, Mensa, my people are in severe pain. South Africans across the walk, across the board, are in severe pain. Even people who, before these lockdowns and the asinine nonsense by politicians, people who maybe thought of themselves as never ever will need government help, are now finding themselves become the sort of dependents they never thought they'd ever be. And instead of this being a national crisis, instead of it being a national crisis, it actually is something that politicians celebrate. The idea that people are becoming poorer and more dependent on the state. That's actually what they want. We don't have a culture of liberty, of prosperity in South Africa. We've had 26 years of a conversation of entitlement and what government can do for me. And more people now are being put into that queue. In fact, they're being forced into that queue by a political establishment, a political elite in this country. Mm, I think I'm live. No idea. I think I'm live, but I have no idea if I'm still here. Um. Okay. Thanks, Emily. Onyx. Onyx. There used to be a Pokemon named Onyx. Was it a Pokemon or? Anyway, I digress. Sorry. um. So don't look to politicians and think that they are your savior, or that they care about you and your family and blah blah blah. They don't. And let me put it to you this way as my final gasp: defend your liberty, defend your family, defend your community. Do not trust a politician. Do not trust their leftist ideology as it's somehow being for you. It's not. As time goes by, you'll start hearing me become very specific around what we as South Africans can do to push back. For now, I'm biding my time because for me, this channel has to grow more. And I'm doing the planning work now of reaching out to more South Africans, growing this audience so that the ideas that I push can reach more people. So there's a lot of work being done in that regard. And in fact, um, if you are someone who has Joe Emilio, the comedian and YouTuber, you'll see that he posted a photo of us together because there's some work. Put it this way: it is thanks to you guys who contribute to the show financially, who are now allowing me to hire people and to put people in a position where we're going to grow the Big Daddy Liberty show into becoming more mainstream and being able to reach more people. So please don't think that the contributions you make, go nowhere. No, they don't. They help me fund um, the work, the traveling, and ever increasingly being able to bring in people who are more experts than me in production, so that the show becomes something that is a little bit more professional, and we can push out to more people, including those people who don't have access to, let's say, online stuff. So there's a lot of legwork coming. Excuse me, there's a lot of legwork being done in the background, and 2021 is going to be a fantastic year for the show, and I think I'm going to reach a lot more people. So thank you to those of you who contribute, and really thank you to those of you who share the show. That's also very, very important. So lots of stuff, lots of planning, guys. I'm not sitting on my hands, trust me. And in me saying that, as this channel grows, you're going to see a lot more advocacy work from me, and you're going to see a lot more activism that brings people to the point of action to do things to change the situation. So, guys, let me maybe end this one here and say, as we head into the holiday season, be vocal. Don't be pushed around by the politicians. Don't allow them to say things like, yeah, we're just going to close public spaces, or we're going to close the beaches, because it's happening around the country. And it's just not just the ANC, by the way. The DA does the exact same thing. In fact, Ivo Fechter, the writer and journalist, he put a tweet up, was it on Wednesday or Tuesday, the basically his municipality, the Knysna municipality, has shut down public spaces. I think parks or pools, one of the two, um, in the name of COVID-19, blah, blah, blah. So, guys, be vigilant and do not trust politicians because hashtag politicians are trash and they're clearly setting their eyes on your freedom and your ability to pursue happiness, to enjoy a little bit of, of, of joy these holidays. That's clearly in their crosshairs. They're coming for that. And I'm saying resist that and push back against that. So that's the vlog, guys. That's the thoughts. Let me know what you think. Pass a comment through. I saw that little comment about being on radio stations. All of that legwork is happening in the background, guys. I'm looking to make the BDL show go a lot more mainstream to reach poorer people in particular and people who don't have access to online stuff. But in the meantime, like and share the show, guys. Push it to your families. Let them see the ideas. Let them engage. And yeah, man. Thank you guys for watching the show. Sorry that we didn't have a Big Daddy Liberty show on Wednesday. It's usually at Wednesday at 7. I'm going to make up for that show this Sunday with two very interesting guests. It's Olivia Rondal from the United States, a young black conservative there. She'll talk to us about what things look like for conservatives, in this period of, Biden won, Trump won, Biden won, Trump won. She'll give us a sense of what's happening on the ground in that part of the world, especially with minorities who grew as conservatives. The number of black and Latino conservatives grew under the Trump era. So she'll speak to us about that. She'll give us that American perspective. And we'll be joined, of course, by also Herman Pretorius from the Institute of Race Relations, who can crunch the numbers with us and give us the latest of what's actually also happening in the US in terms of the election. So look forward to that this Sunday at 9 p.m., late nights with Big Daddy Liberty. If you remember those, I'm going to bring those back, especially in this case to cover up the episode that we missed on Wednesday. I'm waffling. Guys, let me go. Remember, never trust a commie.